I've been trying to move on to other projects, but unfortunately I've run out of desk space simply because of my previous project, which technically isn't finished yet. Now, in the last video I said that I wanted to make a frame for this, and then I wanted it to be open air and basically make it look nice and technological. And I was sitting here for a little while and I was looking at it, trying to figure out ways to do that, and I thought to myself, well, I could use some of that wonderful foam or frames everyone uses, the evergreen scale model polystyrene sheets, which is great. I have a few of these lying around, have had for a while, and I thought about it, but they're really thick, and I didn't really like how thick they were. I know that sounds strange, but mostly it's because they're really difficult for me to cut. And I thought to myself, well, I'd have to measure it and cut it, get it to fit, recut it because I wouldn't have measured it right the first time, waste polystyrene, go buy some more. I didn't want to deal with all that. And then I remembered that some nice person in China sent me a perfectly shaped block of foam that fits exactly the way I want it to. So if I take this out, I have space for my screen. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look and we're going to see if we can convert this case that this originally came into some kind of stand. That's my hope anyway. In order to do that, though, we do have to disassemble the little guy here. Now, it has been working for a couple of days. It's been working perfectly fine. Now, I had a problem with this once before. I'm going to actually disconnect the power completely just for safety's sake. I don't want to cause any problems. But I did have a problem with this once before where it did not want to work because this was not put in properly. But I believe that if I pull this little thing out right like that, then yeah, see, it just falls right out. Alright, so I have to flip this over because the way this was originally set in, and what's really great is a little bit of a bonus. I'm going to set this down right there. It's already pre-cut, but it's not cut completely, so there's a little gap. Hello, you should subscribe. Alright. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this little guy in here. Now I was hoping this would go all the way through. That is still my hope. Come on. It does not want to move very much. Okay, does it go all the way through? It does. It does go all the way through, but only if it's up here. But that's okay. That's okay. Because what we can do is now that we've gone all the way through... Stop losing my gear here. Now I've gone all the way through, we can put this back. Just inside like it's supposed to be. Oh. See, this is... Now it's going to give me trouble. Wasn't going to give me trouble before, but now it's going to give me trouble. There we go. Nice and firm. Now, okay, speaking of trouble. Now that that's done that, I have to get a pair of tweezers and do this proper. Put a little bit of space in there and squeeze. Okay, that side's locked in. And the same on this side. Open up. Come here. Squeeze. There we go. Now it should be all the way in and locked in, and now it's locked into its new frame. Now it is wobbly in here, which I'm not a huge fan of, but that means we just have to cut a little piece of foam, which is great because that's what this other piece was supposed to be for anyway. Because, you know, we could do that, but, well, more like that, but now I can't see anything. So but apart from this part, I wasn't really certain where I was going to go with it, depending on how this reacted is what I was going for. So as you can see, it wants to stand up. And then if we go, I don't know, something like that, you can almost screw it right into the foam. I do worry about heat transfer into the foam. I do not want the foam to catch fire. And this doesn't want to move, or does want to move and shouldn't want to move. So the great part is we have more pre-cut foam that fits exactly where we want it to. So we're going to have to take a quick cut measure. I don't really have anything to measure with. I guess if you don't have anything to measure with, make something up, right? So I got this little guy here. That doesn't help because it's not even. That doesn't help either. That won't tell me anything. It doesn't help if you don't have something that's even to measure with. It's like measuring with a square ruler. Wait, that's not right. Well, let's go back to our trusty. It's about... No. I will find something. I will find a way to measure this properly. I know, it's like go find a ruler. Well, if I had a ruler, we wouldn't be going through all this. Okay, that's about right. I'll take that as an about right, even with the button. So about the width of that button to that wall. Look at that. So you found a ruler. Works perfectly. Now I already have my X-Acto knife. I haven't even measured anything. I'm just gonna kind of eyeball this as best I can. Yeah, it's about a 1/4 inch, you know. It's not like I don't have foam to spare. Alright. There, worked perfectly. And I suppose if I really wanted to be sure, I'd put some hot glue in there, seal it up nice and tight, but I think I kind of want this to be a loose fit because this is more of a prototype than anything. I think it's a nice temporary fixture. And again, I worry about this little guy hanging out up here without any kind of support, but I mean, there's not too much cat hair. There's not too much tension up here I really have to worry about. But this doesn't want to wobble quite as much as it did before. Alright, so if we take that, and then what do we do with this? Do we just leave it? Let it hang? We have more foam to work with. We could give it a foam base, something to stand up on like so. Ooh, probably was going to need it considering how heavy it is. I do like how this gives it more support. That's nice. Now how that's going to work, I don't know. Did not think too far ahead on this one. Or did I? I'll be right back. And back. And for you that was a quick blink, but for me it took a lot longer than I'm willing to admit on camera. So if I remove a bunch of stuff I had to move around before. There we go. So as you can see, what I found is a bunch of standoffs. Now these are standoffs that you normally find to put, well, Raspberry Pis into other bits of plastic to hold them onto or away from certain things. But in this case, I find this might be to our advantage. Now, although they do come with little nuts, which you can't really see, but there, little nuts, in order to use the standoff. We also have standoffs that have no legs. And we have standoffs that are short and long and tall and yada yada yada. So, what I think I'd like to do, and we also have screws to screw in the thing into the standoff. So, what I'd like to do is I think I'd like to have just a standoff with this. Just put it to where it does that, but not on here. Not on here. I think the best option is literally to take away the middleman. Whoop. And then we have that. Now this will act as our placement. Right here it doesn't work because of course it's away, but if it's stood off from that, it should work just fine. Now the issue here is there's not a lot of stability here. But I'm kind of okay with that because this is more of a prototype just to get it out of my way than anything. And so it's a good start. So for now, what we can do is I don't feel like taking all this apart again, although that would be the safe option, the smart option. The I didn't put a screwdriver through my screen option. So even though I don't feel like doing a thing, I'm going to take the extra step and do that thing so I don't regret it later. So we're going to take this off. We're going to go back to here again. That's the problem with prototypes. You got to take them apart and put them back together a whole bunch of times. But once you get it down to where you need it to be, it makes your life a whole lot easier. Okay. So for our purposes, we don't have to worry about this cable or that cable or where they connect because we know it comes out of the top here and loops around. So in that case, all we have to worry about is how far down it goes. And for our purposes, this is a grounding pin, so I don't have to worry about that touching anything. And I think maybe as close to dead center as possible is our best bet, somewhere in that area. So as I said, I use the word screwdriver, and I might not be far off. Because I don't need a lot of room, and I actually don't need it to be drilled or opened in any way. So I have a couple of options here for making a hole, including this very teeny tiny screwdriver. So what I think I'll do, I don't know if it's long. Yeah, it's kind of long enough. So I think I'll set this up like this. Give me kind of an idea of how far away I want them to be, or at least where I want them to be. That's about right-ish. That's not going to be even at all, I'm sure. Can I even see those holes now? No. Kind of. That one? No, I'm going to go with no, I can't see those holes at all. Well, luckily, we have alternative options for that as well. So, let's take our pin. Going to go up a little bit, give it a little bit of pressure. I like that I left this on just because I was too lazy to take it off, but it actually makes a good bumper, and I'm not going to use those pins anyway, so that's great. Alright, a little bloop. I would like a bloop, please. One bloop, if you would. I'm not blooping properly. I bloop over? Okay, a little better. Okay, this won't be even because I'm coming in at a funny angle. But it'll give me a general idea of where they go. Okay. So there we go. So it's a general idea of where my pins should hang out. And for this purposes, what I think I'll do, I have the short pins and the long pins, and the short pins kind of work. I guess I'll go right in there and sit. Actually, that's not bad at all. I think I'll just go with the short pins. Okay. Probably could put them in there further. They don't stick out the back, so that's good. Okay. And 4. I just had a rather genius idea that I probably should have had earlier. Okay, there we go. Aha! So, not evenly set. That's an easy fix. These 3 seem better. This one right here is way off. Okay, some minor adjustments and it should work fine. Now for those minor adjustments, I don't know how, well actually I do. These will give me the offsets I need, or the height of the offsets I need. These are a lot smaller. These ones are the ones that came with the screen. You know what, I'll just do it in situ. I don't like fighting with things if I don't have to. These about the right height? Yup. Alright, so these are the bigger versions of those, and since we're going for that, we'll stick to the same size. So, ooh, will it fit? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, uh-oh. These might be my 2 big ones. I'm gonna say that feels like the case. Yeah, it's kind of, I'm gonna force it if I keep doing that. It's gonna drill a hole through, and I don't want to do that. Okay, so these ones are too big for my pie, I'm afraid. Yeah, these. Okay, so these are the wrong ones. Unfortunately, I found when I originally purchased, well, a different pie for a different project, the standoffs I bought they were too big, and these are the 2 big ones. These ones are too big for what I need to have happen. They won't fit through the holes. I need smaller ones, and I don't have that. So I don't know where those ones went. It took me a very long time to find these ones, so we're gonna have to set these ones back, and we'll have to figure out what to do for standoffs for this thing. Well, I didn't have to look too far for what I was going for, and I actually found out that those were my small ones, these were my large ones, and these ones are way too big. They are huge. So I did find my other sized ones, but these ones will not work for me. However, I did find something else that's wonderfully, I hope it'll fit. I actually haven't tested it yet, but there. It's should give me some kind of structure, but in order to test that, I'm going to have to snip it a bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this and just clip one off like so, and then see how this fits. And it is perfect. Okay. A little bit rough on the edges, but that's okay. So what I'll do, and since I am not going to do the standoffs on these like I was going to, I'm going to do it this way. Let's go ahead and put this all back together. Now I know for the longevity of the chip I should put a heatsink on there. I did go hunting for one. I could not find one. I thought I had spares, but I do not. I did find a really teeny tiny fan that came with one of my Raspberry Pis, but I don't know how to plug it in with all the pins taken up, so for the moment it is not going to be in use, but it would be nice to have something on there to keep it cool. For the moment though, this will work without too much trouble. So very simply, to hold this in place, I'm just actually going to set this in. Since this is the one, oh, it's near the bottom of my frame, that's okay though. That's okay, I don't mind. That'll actually help us out, I think. Okay, 2. Get it through the bottom one. Okay. As even as I'm willing to make it. So since this can in fact go all out now, like would be enough to hold it in place, but what we're going to do is I think we're going to do half a shank. Now the other ones fit in just fine, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to go with not halfway, but about here. One side or the other will be long enough, whichever way we go. Really quick and dirty measuring. Okay. So if we take this little guy and we insert him here, how far do you fit? Well, it doesn't want to go through, but that's not the same thing. It's this little edge, these little, you can't really see them, but it made nubs when I cut it, so I have to unnub it. The best way to do that is to squish the nubs back in, I think. Okay, let's see if this one has nubs. Yeah, a couple nubs. There, give it a little squish. I don't feel like these were long enough anyway, so even though I just did that, I'm going to try this longer ones first. Okay, that went in. The paper is softer than the plastic. It should go through. There you go. Alright, how far in can you go? Oh, right to the back. Not bad. Same? Pretty close. Alright. And oddly enough, that holds it in place. It is as far away from the base as I wanted it to be. It's okay. It gives it some breathing room. What I like best about this, though, is, again, a very big prototype, but it gives me what I want, which is just a little stable hole. I mean, I wouldn't want to lift it quickly or move it around too much, but I could lift it up, and that holds it in place. So real quick and simple. Now the only downside is I got these two sticking out the front, but again, this goes in to hold our screen in place, so those should be covered right up, so it won't even look bad. At least that's the hope. So let's get the screen back in and get everything back together. And there it is, all ready to go. Now again, it's just a prototype, and I just put it together simply so I can clear out my area, and I don't have this screen bouncing around, getting in the way, being troublesome, or breaking would be the worst case. This does not look anything like I wanted it to. Again, it is simply just a prototype, but if you have a workspace, if you have an area and you're looking at your area and you're saying, man, I wish I could do a project, but I can't because there's something in my way, finish it. Don't make it finished, but put it together enough to where you can then clear out your workspace and you can move on to another project if that one has slowed you down, or if you want to come back to it later. And that way, all of your projects aren't just waiting on that one to finish. So this is me encouraging you to, oddly enough, clean up your workspace by doing hard work.